Several people has been asking me what's new, what's happening, how's life here, and I can say it very simply that it's different than having to, for those who know me in Vancouver still, different having to work 2 jobs every day, having to go to wake up early in the morning and come back late in the morning, from working 16 hours every day for 6 days a week and having for one day off, and during that time still managing to facilitate a group and meetings where people can come and enjoy the presence and the space where you can discuss anything and in any way you want without any fear to be rejected or whatnot. It's really different having all the time to do nothing and to do everything I want, and yet the turnover of the energy, having so much time and having ability to do all that I want, is really funny in a way too, because I have not been doing meetings as much as I did in Vancouver. I have not been involving myself in spiritual activities or groups or whatnot as much, and I have not been talking of such things almost at all actually, and I have not felt any need to talk about it as well, and that's in a way freeing, because in Vancouver, as everybody knows, it's such a spiritual town. Everybody speaks about spirituality whenever they can and put it anywhere and sprinkle it on anything possible. So it's been interesting to not put myself in a position to have to say anything, even though sometimes there's observance of clear identification. There's no apparent need to disturb people and call them out and try to ask them about their identification, and just allowing them to be as identified as they want to be, and me not caring as much to do anything about it. Yet sometimes there's enough of disturbance that I myself cannot just keep myself silent, and I end up saying something, and of course that to some extent disturbs some people, and I don't bother about it either, because it's perhaps something that has to happen, something that not necessarily has to happen, yet it happens. And the difference of an energy that is here is really that you get, in a way, bored from not having anything to do anymore. Then you get almost frustrated, and in a way you feel that the productive part has to be there also, that before, when you had to do something because you had no choice, now when you have nothing to do because you have all the choice, you feel that still it's not something fulfilling, it's not something that you would want to have in your life, because being in motion, being in some sort of action and doing something productive is something that is enjoyable. And perhaps that's why I started also again doing videos, because it feels a little more productive, it feels a little more genuine to what I actually want to do, and not just to sit around, lie down and go all about other places. And just enjoyment is also in a way can become tiring, because you can enjoy it to such extent, and then you start feeling feelings of, well, it would be much more fun to enjoy after completing a full day of work that you want to do and feeling productive and feeling achieved, and then have some sort of enjoyment other than just enjoying, and then feeling that you're still not doing anything, which is good after perhaps 4 years of working for 16 hours every day. But very quickly it feels also not something that I myself would like to keep indulging. So for that reason, I started working on, again, my website, The Power Within, as much as possible. Opened up a meetup group here in Philippines as well, and see what is going to happen from there, what kind of people will come, because certainly in all around the world there's people who are in need or in desire of freeing themselves. They experience some sort of anxiety, they experience some sort of identity, some sort of struggle from which is always possible to get out. And has been interesting that I have not been living in a way that I would feel frustration or stress or anxiety much, because I don't really care about anything that happens. Everything is happening and nothing is really bothering anything in me. Of course, there's some sort of emotion, some sort of whatever would arise from time to time, but it really doesn't hold, and it is pleasant to not be held back by any emotion or thought pattern, because that's not something that is really me or you. In that matter, none of us are identities, none of us are patterns, none of us are conditioning. We live with that kind of condition for some time, but it comes a point in life that it's time to get rid of all of it and experience really yourself being free. And the most beautiful thing is being free from thoughts. And even when I started doing this video right now, I sat for I have no idea how many minutes, just having no thoughts, having no thought what to say, having no thought what to do, just sitting and being happy to sit, being happy not to do anything really. And thoughts is something that really doesn't bother me anymore, because all of them are noticed as soon as they rise. And I still have struggle to remember how it used to be when I, perhaps as anybody else, would live in this planet, have thoughts every day and so many of them, and could not stop thinking about anything. And even on the way to work before, when I still have some blurred memory that I used to miss everything on the road because I was so concentrated in my thoughts. And the difference of walking and not thinking, of doing anything and not thinking, not being pushed around by thoughts, is tremendous. And until now I remember that moment when the space arose in which a thought came, and the thought was how nice it is not to think. And it was recognized as a thought, of course, but the thought to affirm the pleasant sensation of not having to think was there. Of course, for that to happen, you really have to come to good terms with your mind, which does not necessarily have power to bother you anymore, does not necessarily have power to push in any more thoughts, undesired thoughts, or any other thoughts, because you're free from them. And freedom from thinking, freedom from your own patterns, from your own conditioning, is something that I deeply enjoy. And perhaps that's why, again, remembering what kind of pleasant feeling it is to live in such freedom, I started doing meetings and started doing videos, started indulging myself in that type of environment, because I know how good it feels to live this kind of life. And I know that there's people who as well desire this kind of life, and I know how easy it is to live this kind of life and how easy it is to get to this point, because conditioning is not something that is holding you back. It's a thought that conditioning is holding you back is what is actually holding you back. So really, to let go of all of your problems is as simple as to snap with 2 fingers, because as I did in my meetings in Vancouver, I said this is more simple than you think, and it's actually in fact that simple that it's too simple for you to accept it, and it's too complicated for the mind to comprehend it. And until now that would remain the same way. Whatever is going to be presented in this or any other videos, it will be too simple for you to accept and too complicated for the mind to comprehend, and we'll have to work in such terms that you'll have to experiment and see on your own. And I invite everybody who is part of this video or will be part of these activities, experiment and see for yourself.